Drug abuse is an ill wind that blows no society any good. Yet, it is the warning that addicts fail to heed as they gradually slip into the clutches of addiction and engage in behavior they only live to regret much later. It is the subject of our feature report from Katsina State as Abdulatif Yusuf brings us the stories of some persons who are undergoing recovery.
Samira Sani is a 42-year-old Katsina-based trader, now undergoing rehabilitation at the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. She was arrested with grams of cannabis and confesses she has been involved in unwholesome behaviors she normally would not have conceived.
I used to be a trader who suddenly turned into drugs peddling and abuse. I was brought here for reformation on my bad behaviors of drugs and when many young people into same attitude. The lifestyle I lived is a secret between my creator and my mind. I smoke Indian hemp and a cigarette. Times has come and passed away. I'm no longer strong to even go back to such activities, besides I regret. I was getting much money and influence. I mingle with men of my choice and I spend money recklessly. I source drugs from my dealers in Katsina and Niger Republic, but my activities are more outside the state, away from my family.
It is not known to have addicts or peddlers of drugs tell their stories publicly, but a number of them are willing to share their experiences. Osman and Sahura are 16 and 18 years old respectively. Their stories are even more horrible than one can imagine.
We used to take an alcohol and drugs, etc. We used to take alcohol, drugs, and we used to do our parents some bad things. We don't used to make our parents happy. That's why they brought us here, to be settled. It's only we, the drunkards, that know the place that we used to go and buy the things. Sometimes in the bush, the sailors will hide themselves in the bush. The wood that we used to drink, we know the place that we'll find them. But sometimes the codeine we used to buy at the chemist. I always used to regret what I have done in my life. I really enjoy why I am here. And I know now I know who am I.
I was pushed into this by friends. I'm into drugs and keeping male companies that satisfy my sexual desire whenever I am on drugs. I only use Exol and Tramadol. My friend supplies me. I never buy it with my money, but friends do supply me. I really misbehave whenever I am high. I take revenge of anything done to me that displeases me under the influence of drugs.
Part of effect of drug abuse is prostitution. Because when a girl is into drug abuse and she has no money to buy the drugs, the best thing she can do is to give herself out to get the money, or she give herself out to get the drug of her choice.
But awareness about the extent of damage drug abuse is inflicting on the society is fast dawning on leaders in the state. The Emir of Katsina, Alhaji Abdulmumin Kabir, says drug must immediately be kept beyond the reach of users. To check menace of drug abuse and increase in crime, we have inaugurated development associations which look at problems confronting us and ways to solve them. It is clear that laxity and inability to respond to these issues are causing us so much that morality and respect are going down. It is necessary we act now and keep drugs away from the reach of its users. But the challenge is not limited to Katsina State. Experts have raised the alarm over a menace spreading among youth in many states across northern Nigeria. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Katsina State says the challenge is enormous and cannot be treated with kid gloves.
Our command in the year 2018 made the seizure of 452.4145 kilograms of cannabis sativa. That is weeds. 10,748 tablets of psychotropic substances, 28,099 bottles of cough syrup with codeine, and arrest of a total of 818 suspects. Also, 104 suspects were convicted to various jail terms and counseled 714 drug users.
In Katsina, we have a serious drug problem because when you look at our records of arrests, and seizure, you'll find out, yes, really there is a high drug problem within the state. Even though there is some improvement that we are getting, but still there is need for us and other stakeholders involved to do more.
The state government says its approach is long-term and adds that a collective approach will be better than government working alone.
Of rehabilitated clients by the agency. Since the inception of this administration in 2015, we have been steadfast in urging Katsina State citizens to shun illicit trafficking and abuse of drugs. This is predicated on the need to guide our people, especially the youth, on the negative consequences of drug abuse, which is a precursor to violent crimes.
Among commonly abused substances in Katsina are codeine and tramadol, as well as Indian hemp and several more. At Madrasatul Tarbiyatul Nurul Huda, an Islamic Reformation Center in Katsina, some persons are undergoing rehabilitation, but they attest to the fact that under influence of drugs, they commit all sorts of crimes with passion. Majority of the clients at the center were taken there by their parents or guardians to be delivered of the effect of drugs on them. They are mostly chained with leg guides to restrict their movements for proper control and administration of Islamic medication. The proprietor of the Reformation School in Katsina blames parents for their failure to look after their wives. The problem of drug abuse is mostly due to laxity from parents who don't watch closely the company their children keep. I have received many who are brought here for beating up their parents or committed incest and many more. The dangers are so many, but the only hope is that governments at all levels are doing a lot to curb the problem. A lot of empowerment packages now distract youth from drugs. For action in fighting drugs must be a continuous one in order to safeguard the future of many lives slipping away through this indecent act that can be controlled. Abdulatif Yusuf, TVC News, Katsina.